The Knicks are making moves. Due to cap constraints, they have not been able to add a 15th player to this team. But that all changed on January 5th when the Knicks gained access to 10-day contracts. Now they have the ability to sign more talent and add it to this team. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. But before we get started, guys, about 55% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. We are on a mission to try to reach 25,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. The Knicks gain access to the 15th roster spot. Because the Knicks play a shortened rotation, it's almost hard to believe that for the entire season, they have been operating without a 15th player. And we already explained why. It's mainly due to cap restrictions. New York just does not have the money on hand right now to add more talent to this roster. And you could make the argument, given the injuries the Knicks are experiencing right now, they could use more talent on this team, especially in practice, where it could be a huge benefit. Now, thanks to league rules, New York finally has access to a wealth of talent that they can sign to 10-day contracts. Let's break down these latest reports from Sports Illustrated. Yesterday, on January 5th, NBA teams were given access to sign 10-day contracts, which should open up some playing time for G Leaguers who made an impression over the first half of their season that accumulated in the Winter Showcase in Orlando 2 weeks ago. The Knicks developmental club in Westchester took home the in-season title for the second consecutive season, topping the Miami Heat's affiliate. Two members of that championship trek were named on a list of prime 10-day contract candidates compiled by Keith Smart of Sports Track. Now that we know that the Knicks have access to 10-day contracts and they can look at their Westchester roster to potentially call some players up and add them to this team, the only question remains now is, who are those players going to be? What player or players are the Knicks going to target and add to this roster? Well, thanks to Keith Smith with Sports Track, he recently gave us an update on the players that New York should sign with their 10-day contracts. And it's the players that we have in Westchester. Players that I have been saying for a while now, New York should look at and should be adding to this team. The first of those players is TJ Warren. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for giving us the following information. According to them, the first is an obvious choice, as Westchester continues to boast the services of previous Orlando hero TJ Warren, best known for Indiana-based breakout in the 2019-2020 season continuation in the Walt Disney World bubble. Warren is averaging 24.9 points on over 51% shooting in 17 appearances for Westchester this season. He's also third among Westchester regulars in rebounds per game at 6.8. According to Keith Smith, Warren is way overqualified for the G League. He's scoring with relative ease at the minor league level. The good news is he looks healthy. That's what's kept Warren off NBA rosters the last few seasons. When a team needs a forward who can score, they do well to give Warren a look. Let's make something clear about TJ Warren. He is a scoring machine. If you give him the ball and you need a bucket, he is going to go out there and give you buckets at a crazy rate. The way he's shooting the ball right now, his percentages are insane. Now, I understand it's in Westchester. Yes, it's the quote-unquote minor leagues. But doing what he's doing on any level, it's bound to translate once he comes to the NBA. And whether it's the Knicks or another team, Warren is not going to spend a lot more time in the G League. Given the way he's looked and how healthy he's looked, he is likely going to be called up to some team. Now, for me, the only way I would want the Knicks to call him up is if you can assure me that with this main club, he's going to get the same amount of touches or a similar amount of touches off the bench. Because if we get him, the main thing he can help with is giving us more points off the bench. And New York right now, in terms of our bench scoring, is one of the worst in the league. We need to improve on that end. And the way to do that is to add more talent off the bench that can help you score. And as you saw there as well, too, he can also rebound as well. The only thing is he's a little bit older at this point in time, and he can't really defend at the same level as you need in the NBA. So that's why I'm taking a step back from TJ Warren. Now, honestly, if the Knicks went ahead and signed him and gave him a 10-day contract, I really wouldn't mind it at all, because honestly, getting more talent on this team is the main goal. But if I could choose, I really wouldn't choose TJ Warren from Westchester. I would choose another player who's playing for Westchester. But before I say who that player is, let's get back to Keith Smith, who was saying exactly who the Knicks should pick up on 10-day contracts. TJ Warren was one name, but remember, he had two players listed. And here's the other name. And you guys already know who this player is. If you watch this channel, then you know I am very high on this player, Moses Brown. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for continuing to give us more information on this matter. According to them, one of the names Warren is trailing in rebounding department is Moses Brown, a New York City native and Archbishop Malloy alum. Brown is averaging a double-double at 14.6 points and 11.7 boards in 14 appearances for White Plains. According to Keith Smith, in the G League, he's one of the best rebounders and rim protectors in the league. Let me say that one more time for everybody in the back who's not understanding how dominant a player Moses Brown is. In the G League, he's one of the best rebounders and rim protectors in the league. Brown uses his size to dominate on the interior. That comes together in flashes in the NBA. Look for an NBA team to bet on Brown being the classic late bloomer center with another shot in the big league. With one spot open on their active roster, the Knicks are able to sign a player to a 10-day deal if they desire to. I would love the addition of Moses Brown to this team. It's no secret. I have been high on this kid all season long. You can check the videos. I have been putting out a number of videos on this kid, so everybody knows how good he is, how talented he is, and how dominant he is. Remember, Indiana, they were desperate at a time, and they went to the G League and they signed him. Out of all of the G League prospects they could have looked at, they signed him because of his dominance. The reason when he was released and the Knicks went right away to get him back on Westchester is because of his dominance. I would love to see him on the main team if he could actually get some minutes. But if you can imagine this, both TJ Warren and Moses Brown are not the players that I would choose personally from Westchester to add to this team. There's one player that Keith Smith did not mention, Chuma Okeke. He is nearly averaging triple-double numbers in the G League with steals, with rebounds, with scoring, and he can do it all. He can even play make as well. Given his age, given his size, the fact that he's a wing, he is the perfect fit right now for the Knicks, what we need, and what Tom Thibodeau would love. Remember, we don't only need scoring, we need defense as well. If you get Chuma in, he's a 3-and-D threat. He's going to give you three-point shooting. He can run, drive inside, take contact, get to the line. He can do all of that. He can get his own rebound. He can get other people's rebounds, and he can make it hard on the opposing team. That's what you need. Players on this roster that can have an impact. And even if they're not going to play any significant minutes, as I mentioned earlier, we are dealing with a number of injuries still right now. Deuce McBride with his hamstring. Karl Anthony Towns with his knee. Jalen Brunson, he's probable each and every game due to tightness in his calf. We don't understand or even know at this point if he's 100% or not. So having more bodies in practice that you can use so that way other players can develop and you can see what these 10-day contract players can do as well too, that helps make all the difference. Because maybe when it's time and you want to continue to add talent to this team and you have the ability to sign one of these players long-term, because you signed them to 10-day contracts, you'll know right off the jump what players you should sign to this roster immediately. The Knicks, at this point, only need to make a decision on who they want to add to this team, and then they can call them up and see what that player has to offer. I cannot wait to see what Leon Rose and this Knicks front office does, because you have to believe they were looking forward to this day for a long time. Adding more talent, especially for practice purposes, is always important. So the next move the Knicks make is going to be very important. It might go under the radar. It may not seem like a significant move, but if you're reading everything like I am, it's a move within a move itself. It's going to be one move that potentially leads the Knicks to make another move. And that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks finally having access to 10-day contracts? And the players that are being suggested for the Knicks to add are TJ Warren and Moses Brown. But like I said earlier, if I'm picking the player from Westchester to add to this team, I am choosing to add Chuma Okeke to this roster. But what about you guys? Who would you add from Westchester to this team? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.